Hello, Internet. Welcome to Popcorn Chicken, where we're going to be, just, we're talking about The Last of Us in the episode that just finished, that just aired today. If you weren't feeling feelings before, you can show this to a Vietnam War vet, and they'll be like, you know what, my time wasn't that bad. But to discuss this, I'm bringing on Elvin. I can't hear you. Still can't hear you. So we're going to wait until you plug in things or turn up things or move your microphone or go into your settings. So hello. Oh, we got Darth Gutierrez right in the chat. Today I'm enjoying a nice.
Hello.
There we go. Now I can hear you.
Somebody pass me a tissue.
Holy
my
shit.
God.
Yes, it was released today because they didn't want to compete with the Super Bowl that is happening on Sunday. So it came out today. So if you've played the game, we're literally spoiling nothing. If you haven't played the game, we're spoiling everything.
Baka, if you haven't seen it and you don't want to be spoiled, back out right now. I'm letting you know right now in 3, 2, 1. But if you want to be here and you played the game and you already know what's coming to happen, then hang out with us.
Yeah.
Warning to anybody who doesn't want us to spoil it for them. Wow. Oof.
I thought episode 3 was a punch in the gut.
No.
Yeah, go watch it.
No.
Right now.
No, this wasn't a punch. This one was, that one could be a punch in the gut, but this is a punch in the gut and then curb stomp you after. That's what this was.
There was a moment in the beginning that
well, before Baka leaves, make sure to come watch us on the replay, okay? Be the replay.
Oh yeah. They will. Don't worry. So the episode kind of picks up exactly where the last episodes picked off and gave you a little more backstory into Henry and his brother. And now, again, none of this is in the game. So all the backstory that we're getting on Henry, like none of it was in the game.
Appreciate you, Darth.
And
so this is not in the game. Okay, so I'm gonna let you know where I'm at in the game right now. Okay. I am just with Bill heading to the school.
Okay, gotcha.
Bill goes, see that school over there? We had to go through all this, and I'm sure I'm gonna have some clickers and things in the way there, of course.
You do the fridge thing?
Yeah, did the first thing. Awesome.
There you go.
Shooting upside down was the best thing in the world.
It's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
yeah, they should. I think that was the first thing at like E3 when they announced the game. They were like, this is what it looks like. And everyone was like, holy shit.
Yeah. So I'm there right now. And the upgrade, that the PlayStation 5 version of it is beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
It is on level with any PlayStation 5 game right now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. That's how they up the ante on the graphics and the visuals.
Mm-hmm.
So it looks phenomenal.
Hey, do you notice anything different about me?
I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, the background is purple. Okay, cool.
It's always purple.
Look, we got coasters here and stuff.
I'm not wearing a black shirt.
So those of you who don't know, one of the after hours shows, Bad Batch, we finished it up, and then I just asked Justin a question. I'm like, do you wear anything besides the black shirts and jackets that you? Not that I don't like them. I think they're cool.
I don't even think it was in the after hours. I think it was after we finished the podcast.
Oh, was it? Okay, yeah.
Remember.
Okay,
I don't remember.
It probably was, because I wouldn't ask you like that in on the spot like that. But I remember you wearing the A&R white shirt, but I'm like, I've never seen this guy wear any other shirts besides black. And your jean jacket, which you love. And so I was
I got a leather jacket too.
Yeah, so I'm like, you're like, what are you talking about, you idiot? I wear all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, but I was just like, I just have either bands like
you're
like either my friends' bands or like bands that send me stuff for like work stuff, or My
Yeah.
drummer has a t-shirt printing company, and he just makes t-shirts for local punk bands. And then he's just like, "Hey, do you want this shirt?" And I'm like, "Okay." So I just have a surplus of like black band shirts. So the law of averages, usually in a black t-shirt.
Well, you look fashionably awesome.
Thanks.
Oh my god. So this episode,
Yeah.
it probably hit me harder than a lot of people.
Oh
Uh,
yeah. I was
and you know where
right
I'm
when
going with this.
right when stuff happened, I was just like, oh, I can't wait to talk to Elvin about this.
So, quick backstory: I'm a dad of two boys. My
Hmm.
oldest son, he is actually deaf, and we use sign language to communicate with my son. My sign language is of a kindergarten level because I really suck at sign language. But my wife's is probably like more of a grade 7 level because she gets training during lunch hours, which I'm working, so I
Mm,
can't. We do have somebody that comes to the house to train, um, but it's really hard to find someone in the weekends because usually they're Monday to Friday.
right.
Tomorrow morning, I do have somebody coming for about an hour to teach me and my youngest son basic sign language. So we are learning, but at a very snail's pace because our government doesn't really fund that
Mm.
part of the world uh, enough. They've actually depleted the funding in the last 10 years.
Oh,
Uh,
good.
yeah, because going backwards is always the answer.
Oh
Is
yeah, less money is always better.
Yeah, so it's been really difficult to find people to teach us, and people are like, well, why don't you just go on the internet and learn? It's not that easy. It's a
Hmm.
language, just
Yeah,
like any other language,
yeah,
right? And it takes time, and this is even harder because it's your hand that has to talk, not your mouth.
yeah. It's muscle memory, not
Yeah,
speaking
because the
patterns.
way they
Yeah.
sign like really fast, it's normal to them. But for me, it's just like arthritis. Like what the hell? Like most.
Well, because when you're learning a different language, like I know a few languages, but like that's just relating to something I'm already doing, which is speaking. So it's not like I already know a language with my hands. I'm learning a new motor skill, and
Yeah,
also it's a form of communication. Like it's yeah, yeah.
yeah, it is ASL. Yes, American Sign Language. Yeah, there is a universal one because some countries have different
Mhm.
gestures for certain signs.
Yeah, there's
So
different
yeah,
turns of phrases and
yeah.
stuff and slang essentially.
So this episode hit me hard because, and I had my son sitting next to me because
Yeah.
I'm like, I want you to watch this. I had no idea there was going to be sign languages in there. I wanted to watch it because my youngest son watches it with me all the time. So my
Mhm.
oldest one's like, what are you guys watching? And I'm like, come sit watch with us. You might like this show.
Yeah.
So he sat down and
Lo and behold.
they started busting out the sandwich and he looks at me, I look at him, I'm like, it's a pretty good show. You should check it out, right? And he's like, okay, I will.
So
Oh my god.
so that wasn't in the game also.
Okay, so
His
none of
his
this is in the game.
his brother was not deaf in the game either. This was just a like an added writing thing that they
It's pretty cool.
changed
Look at that. We
in
talk about ASL and somebody here and knows about ASL.
hell yeah.
That's pretty cool. Yeah. It's a good you can actually find jobs out in the
Mhm.
world that require, like schools require
Yep.
interpreters, hospitals require interpreters.
Fuck
You get
concerts.
yeah, political government shows and
Yep.
like Congress. There's so many places they need ASL, even broadcasting,
Yeah.
right? So yeah, there's plenty of opportunity for someone with sign language skills to get a job, or even just the language itself, which is what I'm trying to see if my son can get into something like that,
Mhm.
right? Especially if he gets into the political landscape, where that a government channel where there's always somebody in the corner in the box always
Yeah.
signing.
No,
My son,
if you go to music festivals, there's somebody interpreting. They not all the time,
really
but a lot of like festivals and a lot of like concerts will have an interpreter like in
interesting.
the front of the stage
Mhm.
and like signing the lyrics.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, this show starts off where we left off last week. We left off last
Mhm.
week with two guns pointed at Ellie and Joel,
Yep.
and it was Henry and I can't remember the other guy's name.
Um
Henry's the young son, right?
No, Henry's
Yeah.
the dad.
There's no dad. It's they're two brothers.
Sorry. The older brother. Henry's
The
the
older
older brother.
Okay, Henry's the older
Yeah.
brother.
And
Is
we
it Sam?
learn maybe.
While you're looking that up, I'm gonna
Yeah, Sam.
Sam. Okay. So it starts off that way, but it also gives you a backstory of who they are.
Yeah.
Right? It fills in the missing piece as Joel and Ellie arrive to Kansas.
Yeah. So you see a little bit of backstory of like when Ellie and Joel show up, like and you see the doctor that you saw in the last episode and the attic that they find them in. And then you see Joel and Ellie crash their truck through. You see the gunfights, and then
you see it from a different perspective. You see it from these guys' perspective what's going on.
Yeah,
which
so
is
then
cool. I love it.
It was really cool. And then Henry sees Joel and is just like, all right, that guy knows how to fucking kill. So and clearly they don't like him, so we're gonna stalk them. So they follow them in there, and we thought, oh, they've been camping out there for a while, but no, they followed them, and then they meet up with them and sneak in. And I loved the back and forth when it's just like, all right, we didn't kill you, and you didn't kill us, so everything's cool, okay? And then Joel's like, everything's great, and he's like, that's a weird tone, and she's like, Ellie's just like, he just has an asshole voice. He just has an asshole voice. Tell him everything's fine. Everything's wonderful. So fucking stop. And you see in his eyes, he's just like, all right, I'm gonna kill this kid in front of me, and then I'm gonna kill him. Okay.
Yeah.
And
well, when you're not, like, as cruel as that sounds, you have to picture and you have to imagine what that world is like, right? Where, I'm sorry, you're 12, you're pointing a gun at me. It's survival of the fittest here.
He's like, I don't give a fuck. You're 12. You're something holding a gun to my head. That's all that matters.
Yeah.
And now I mentioned last week that my girlfriend hasn't played the games and she just started watching it. She watched the first episode and she was like, yeah, it's pretty good. She's like, I'm not super into
lukewarm,
like,
right, kind of thing.
Well, yeah, no, she's like, yeah, it's good. She's like, I'm not really into like zombie shows or whatever. And I was like, first off, this is not a zombie show. She's like, what do you mean? I was like, no, I was like, I know the first episode is like, oh, pandemic, and this is the zombies or whatever. The next 3 episodes are going to have like almost no zombies in it. She's like, really? And I was like, this has almost nothing to do with zombies. And then she's like, oh, well, who's Joel? And I was like, he's the main character. You're going to meet the next main character, and it's all about them in this terrible, terrible, terrible landscape. And that's what the show is about. She's like, okay.
Yeah.
I was like, there's going to be an episode. I was like, the 3rd episode doesn't have a single zombie in it, and it's one of the most beautiful pieces of cinema I've ever seen. She's like, okay, all right, I'll continue watching it.
She's on board.
Yeah, she's not into like action things or she's like, yeah, like we watch horror movies and stuff like that all the time, but like as far as just like action, zombie shit or whatever, she's like, yeah, it's fun, but like but yeah, so then you see that interaction then, and like everything except for the ending and the fact that Sam was deaf is all in the game. So their interactions and a lot of their lines and a lot of the dialogue between Ellie and Sam. Oh, and the comic book that they're reading, those are collectibles in the game.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, cool. So those are secret collectibles that you.
That's why she was saying, "Oh, I have comic book 5, 6, something."
Yeah, yeah, and he's like, "Oh, I got 5, 8, and 9 or whatever." But yeah, so that's a collectible in the game, and it's just the planning phase, and just also too like the fact that nobody really had nobody's meant to do any of this. Nobody's like, all right, like, no, there's no super soldiers in this show. It's no like, all right, we're gonna go down here, we got this plan, we gotta do, and we're gonna execute, number 6 on the plan map, whatever. They're just like, we're gonna in the basement. What's in the basement? It's covered in infected. Yeah, but they cleared it out 3 years ago. And he's like, well, fuck. And he's like, yeah, well, what else are we gonna do? And he's like, well, okay, you're right. And he's like, you know how to kill shit. I know where things are. So that's what we have. And then everyone just goes, yep, that's all we have. Okay. I guess we have to do that. And the thing that the first thing that just like grabbed onto my heart and twisted was in the background while Joel and Henry are like bickering, and Ellie has the pun book, the book of dad jokes, and she's showing that to Sam, and Sam starts laughing.
Yeah.
And then the second that you hear Sam laughing, and then everyone just goes quiet, and I was just like, and then Henry goes, I haven't heard him laugh in a long time. And I think the fact that he's deaf and doesn't speak, hearing a deaf kid laugh for the first time in probably a year or two, just like immediately I was like, oh, this is gonna be a fucking roller coaster of an episode, because I know how it ends, and if it's starting with this, Jesus Christ. I thought immediately just prepared, like my tear ducts were like, all right, I'm ready, I'm warmed up, let's do this. And I was like, oh fuck.
For me, yeah, like it touches home, but I've been through it, and to me it does touch me, but I'm aware of it, I'm ready for it. But it's always nice to see it unfold in cinematic or television shows, because it allows people who are of hearing to understand their world that they're living in, right? Which is different. As much as people want to say it's the same, it isn't. There's differences there, right? They see the world in a different way, and some people are not respectful or aware of that. And so I think shows like this can shed some light on understanding that, right? I really liked how they filled in the puzzles that we just talked about, the backstories, the doctor. One of the things I also liked is how they gave both sides good stories.
Yeah.
Kathleen, is it Kathleen?
Yeah.
I liked how they gave her story and her purpose of why she's hunting them down.
Yeah.
Instead of just having her ravagely hunt people down.
Well,
there was a concrete story that you felt.
Yeah, and right? and in the game you don't get any of that. There's no backstory to that, and this gave gravity and made sense, and also made you. And this is what the second game tries to do as well, possibly to a fault. A lot of people don't like the second game. It's story wise anyway how it goes, but because it very much tries to do, and actually this episode is giving me unlimited hope for them covering The Last of Us Part 2, because what The Last of Us Part 2 does is the first half of the game, it's just a continuation of the first game. Then the second half of the game, you play as the other side, and it tries to do exactly what this episode did. And to a lot of people, I loved the second game, and it was, but I can understand why people were fucking mad about it.
Okay.
Or disappointed by it rather. But this episode, again, gives so much hope for them covering parts 2, because all the stuff that you saw with Kathleen, like in the first episode that we see her, is just like, oh, it's this fucking crazy lady who just wants to kill Henry. Oh, maybe they used to fuck, and then he was like, I don't like you, bitch, and then she's like, I'll kill everything. But then you're just like, no, she had a brother who was like the leader of their group, and everyone loved him. And then his brother gets leukemia, and to get the drugs, he had to sell out her brother, and Fedra kills him. And you're just like, fuck.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
And
he's
that
asking
conversation.
Joel, right?
Yeah.
He's asking Joel, "Am I a bad person? Am I evil person? That makes me an evil person, right?" Because
Mhm.
in his mind, he's wholeheartedly thinking, "I'm an evil piece of shit.
Mhm.
You know, I'm a rat, first of all." And you saw Joel's reaction as soon as he
Just
mentioned,
immediately, knee jerk
yeah,
reaction. He's like, I don't
oh,
work with rats. And he's like,
yeah,
you do now, motherfucker.
yeah. Sorry, buddy. uh, so it was so interesting to hear him say, like, "I'm a horrible person. I'm a horrible person." And Joel's really not like giving him a hug or anything like that. That's not who he is,
No.
right? Joel's just sitting there and just taking it all in and going, "Yeah, I guess you are. I guess who knows?" But I mean, at the end of the day, Joel's like, "Who am I to say anything?"
Well, exactly. Like
And that's
there
why,
was no like
yeah,
solace that he gave him. There was no reconciliation. There was no like, yeah, it's okay, man. We all do terrible stuff or whatever. All he's thinking is just like, well, I'm a fucking terrible person too. Like, you're alive, and I now understand you. Okay, let's move on. Let's deal with the task. Like, it's such a boomer mentality, but like let's not deal with the trauma. Let's not deal with any of this stuff. It's whatever. It's just like, hey, we don't have that luxury. We just need to deal with the basement that is potentially crawling with mushroom fuckheads.
yeah. So like, I like how Joel is very clear on things with him,
Mhm.
saying, "You don't really need me, but I know why you want me here, because you want me to shoot some bad people." But Joel's probably like the whole time thinking like, "Okay, when we get through this, you're on your own, I'm on my own, we walk
Yeah.
away." Right? That's what I got from Joel from the minute they partnered up.
Yeah.
Is we're gonna get through this, and then you guys are going on your own way. There's
Yeah.
no partnership. We're not getting the band back together. Any of that nonsense, right? So I like that, and he stayed character. Like, that's one of the things I loved about the writing, is because they didn't try to make Joel this happy-go-lucky guy now
Yeah.
and change his whole character. Just so he could be nice. No, he's not nice. He's an asshole,
It's
right?
it it's I mean, this is a credit to Neil Druckmann, the original writing team for the game, because while in a game you're controlling them, and you are a the character that you're controlling is representation of the person playing it, but it's showing you this story that's unfolding, and having but in this show, because you get way more backstory, because in the game, from what I remember, I th- I don't know if you get any backstory on Henry, like, at all. He's just a guy in trouble. You meet him, and he knows the way, and then he's like, you know how to do a gun? I don't have the gun, so I know the way. Let's team up, and then we'll fuck off. And you're like, okay. But the fact that they give you that, like, the duality of the both sides, while still keeping the integrity of the character of Joel, which is not inherently a bad person, but is just like fucking broken.
Mhm.
And he doesn't just like, oh, okay, you're a good guy, I'll trust you or whatever. He's still just like, I will fucking kill you in a second, but this is the best option. And he's not like becoming friends with you. And when they were walking, and Ellie's like, we're going to Wyoming, he's like, shut the fuck up. Like, just gives her daggers immediately. And she's like, what? All right, he's always like this. He'll go, no, we'll never do this. And then I'm going to ask him a million times. And then they immediately start getting shot at. And it was just like, fuck.
I was waiting for it, to be honest with you. I'm like,
Yeah.
there's no way these guys are gonna walk out of this neighborhood without anybody shooting at them,
Yeah.
right? There's no way. And sure enough, bullets start shooting, and this person can't aim. He's getting
Yeah.
close, but not can aim.
Mm-hmm.
And I like how Joel takes leadership here, and
Yeah.
as he should. He's the
Mm-hmm.
oldest, wisest, battle hardened person there. He's
Mm-hmm.
not gonna have like I would have been upset if Henry goes, or is this Henry the older brother, right? Yeah.
Henry's the older, yeah.
He'd be like, "Oh, I'll take charge. I know what I'm doing." It
Yeah.
would have been stupid because he doesn't know what he's doing.
Well, yeah,
So
Henry even tries to run and then immediately gets shot at, and he's like, "Fuck, Joel, what do I do?" He's just like,
I love
y'all
that part.
sit
Yeah,
here,
yeah. Sit your
don't
ass here.
move."
I'm gonna do a little rendezvous around the back, and so he does that. He goes to this creepy house.
Yep,
I'm surprised not a single piece of wood in that creepy house doesn't creak as he walks up the
it does.
stairs.
But as we see, he's sneaking up on a geriatric, so who's also been shooting like 10 rounds out of a fucking high caliber hunting rifle, so his ears are already ringing. So like
that is true.
he's
That is true.
he's already got tinnitus and is probably a bit deaf, and then
And
now
obviously
it's
can't
just-
see.
yeah. But this part is in the game, kind of. So
Okay.
this whole thing happens. It's during the day, and then you sneak up there, and then there's like a I don't want to call it a mini game, but like it's a part where you sit in
All good.
when you sit in the top of this building, and then you cover them and there's infected running around, whatever. But in the game, the militia people never don't show up. Like that's not part of
Okay.
this. So this is all new stuff.
And boy, do they ever show up in this one.
Holy fuck.
Yeah, so he finds a radio up in the tower there with
Yep.
grandpa.
Oh, also that scene too, when he gets there and he like gun out, and he's just like, all right, you're gonna put your gun down, you're gonna slide it across, you're gonna give it to me, we're gonna leave, okay?
Yeah. Give me an
and
hour.
then
Give
he
us an
pauses.
hour.
Yeah, you're gonna sit up here for 2 hours, and then we're good, okay? That's the deal. And then there's silence. Speaking of which, the silence throughout this episode, I mean, it was partly because there's a lot of sign language, so like not technically there was still dialogue, but the silence was just chef's kiss, beautiful.
Yeah.
But then there's the silence between him where he's just like, don't do it, please. And he starts pleading with him. He was like, I don't want, this doesn't have to be an ugly situation. And then he goes to move, and then you go to their perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Ellie and Henry and Sam, and you hear a gunshot, and you're like, fuck.
Which I love because it showed respect. It showed remorse. Is that the way?
Yeah, because it's not that Joel is a cold-hearted killer,
He's
and
not,
he's just
no.
like, he's not like, all right, job done. All right, Tango.
Joel
Tango taken out.
Joel just wants to get the job done, right? And he's gonna do anything in his way to get it done. But at the same time,
he's still a human.
He's still human, and he's giving this guy an out.
Yeah.
Look, we're gonna be on our merry way. Just chill.
Yeah.
And Grandpa doesn't want to chill, so Grandpa gets a bullet to the head, and Grandpa R.I.P. And then I like the fact, and now that the game that I'm where I'm at the game is I'm doing a lot of looting and grabbing and things because I want to up my weapons and all that stuff. So I understand what you're saying about the backpack down, putting everything in there, putting it back on, finding a gun, crafting it. So as soon as he grabbed the gun, he's looking at it. I'm like, yeah, I did that.
You do the inspect animation,
and
also too when the gun jams, because like the guns that you get in the game are fucking pieces of shit, and they jam and break all the time.
Rusted guns,
like ammo's super scarce, but also the gun usually just breaks. And there are so many times in the game where you'll be like, all right, I got this guy dead to rights, and you're like, click, and you're like, fuck, and then you pull out a brick.
So they basically are safe from this guy, but all of a sudden these Kansas City Warriors here
Yep.
They show up.
The KC mob.
Yeah, Kathleen. She shows up because Grandpa had a radio, and Grandpa was giving locale, ratting these guys out, and so they're only a minute out, and you can see Joel yelling, "Run,
Yeah, and he's just
run!" Right,
yelling from the yep.
and these guys are like, what? Who's saying that? And all of a sudden they see these cars coming, and the front car has got that the plow
Yep.
system put into place because there's a bunch of cars in the street, and then she's like, "Well, what do we do?" And she's like,
Well,
"You
they talked
have."
about that. Joel mentioned that when they were driving and they were getting to Kansas, Joel was just like, "Oh, what?" Like Ellie said something, and then Joel was like, "Yeah, they," or no, she was talking about the truck that they were driving, and he's like, "Yeah, actually, they used to put Rams, these big metal dividers on these trucks, and they would clear the roads for all the tanks." And she was like, "I want to see a tank," and he's like, "You will, don't worry."
Yeah, so they basically burst through the street, pushing all the cars out of the way, and these guys are making a run for the house. Joel's trying to slow the truck down because it's gonna
Mhm.
mow these guys down, right? Uh, Ellie's trying to shoot as she's running. Uh, it's not gonna do nothing. But anyways, before she gets run over, Joel finally gets that money shot, and
Yep.
poof, shoots the driver in the head, and the truck kind of veers to the left into a house.
Yeah.
Giant explosion. It stops everybody
Which
in their
the
tracks.
the stunt work, I don't. I'm assuming. Well, no, obviously the person who is Ellie's stunt person almost got fucking hit in the head by flaming debris.
I
I
saw
noticed in
that.
the
I
shot.
saw that. Yeah,
The explosion happens and there's like it's probably just like gas soaked
sponge.
sponge or foam or whatever.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
still, like that shit
yeah.
almost
It's a fireball coming at you.
it's a fireball careening at somebody's fucking head.
I saw that. Yeah, I was like, "Whoa, that's pretty close." I'm like, "Is that
And
CGI? Probably not
and
CGI."
also this episode was just like, oh, okay, this is why this is the most expensive thing HBO's ever done. Now, a lot of the most of the infected were CG, but the stunt work and again, they still built this whole town. And again, you have to remember every interior shot is a fully built building without a roof.
Right. That's
And all of
great.
the roofs are CG so that they can get cameras and lighting rigs through it, which is
Yeah.
fuck.
And that whole street had probably 30 cars in there.
Oh yeah.
And they're all buildings, like you said, are around it. It took a little
Mhm.
while to put that together. And then, not to mention, you have to age that place.
Yeah.
It's not like you
Yeah.
can just have a clean street with some cars in there. It's not. It doesn't look like a post-apocalyptic world.
Yeah,
Right?
it's almost like if you have a desert planet that is poor and on an outer rim of a galaxy, and you have fucking cunts with
Clean clothes and vehicles.
and Vespas.
Minty.
Yeah.
Not a rust in sight.
No.
So
Speaking of Kathleen's that are shit.
you mean Karens? Kathleen became a Karen all of a sudden.
Yeah.
I do want to touch about her quick story. She goes back to her childhood house.
Oh yeah.
I and to quickly talk about that, like how her brother, who was basically ratted out and taken over or captured by the feds. Um, I did like how she was talking to this guy who was his right hand man and saying, "My brother sheltered me when I was young, during thunder showers and things like that. He was very important to me." And you kind of feel for her because this is her brother, right? I mean, you have to look at it from another person's perspective, and I did feel, I'm like, this lady's mad because
Yeah.
her brother was taken away from her, so she has a right to have revenge and to get back at that person who ratted him out, right? So I get it from her standpoint point of view, but when she came to that part there, and Henry's trying to talk to her, and she's like, "Well, I don't care if she's a kid. He's a kid."
Well,
Too
before
bad.
that, So two things. The right hand guy, like the army guy or whatever.
Can I interject for a second?
Yes.
You right now look like you have no shirt on because the shirt color.
Oh, I know. Yeah, it's winter, so I've lost. So yeah,
I was
I
just like,
haven't
wait,
seen the sun much.
did a double think. Is that his collarbone?
It does actually kind of look like my color, but holy shit, yeah, yeah. The winter
Anyways,
months,
folks,
I lose.
folks,
I
he is
lose my
wearing your
tone.
shirt. If you're wondering, he is wearing your shirt.
Or am I not?
I'm gonna leave that up,
Let's bunch it up,
dude. I swear to God, don't do that. Anyways,
like a really bendy skin. The right hand man, the army guy, he was one of the voice actors in the Last of Us.
really,
game.
who
Yeah,
is he?
I don't remember off the top of my head, but he was a guy that Joel interacts with. I can't remember off the top of my head. Let me.
You're gonna look it up.
Yeah. Shouldn't take long. Episode 4. I'm DeBizzle. Jeffrey Pierce. There we go. He's Perry in this game, and in the video game, I mean, this makes all of the sense. He's also voice acted in Call of Duty, which that motherfucker looks like he is straight out of Call of Duty. He was Tommy in The Last of Us Part 2.
Okay.
I don't know that he was in The Last of Us Part. Was Tommy?
Speaking
in
of
The Last
Tommy,
of Us
and
Part
don't spoil
1?
it for me. Speaking of Tommy,
I don't remember Tommy from the second one.
As a viewer from, not playing the game, I thought we were gonna meet Tommy by now. Like episode 5, I'm like, we're gonna meet Tommy by now, and we haven't. So
Wait, you mean his brother?
yeah, Tommy, yeah.
Tommy's not his brother's name.
Is it a Tommy, his brother's name? Joel's?
Um,
I'm pretty sure it was Tommy. Was it not? But anyways,
oh, it is. Oh, sorry. Her right hand man is Joel's brother in the game.
yeah, the voice acting, yeah.
The voice actor, yeah.
So as a viewer who hasn't played the game, I was expecting to see Tommy soon. Like
we see him in the next episode.
Okay, so
I watched the up next week on The Last of Us, and they show up in fucking Canada or whatever with horses and
horse and carriage.
They run.
Well, if they wanted snow, they went to the right place, Alberta.
yeah, exactly.
Guaranteed to get snow.
Oh yeah. But
so let's talk about the craziest part of this episode, man.
Yeah, so the truck explodes and then goes into a sinkhole. And again, starting from here, none of this is in the game.
Okay.
So
I don't have to worry about any of that. Sweet.
Well, except for the end scene. But they also add a little bit in there too. They changed that a bit too, which is, again, the first episode, I was like on the seat of my pants, even though I knew exactly what was happening. This episode, on the seat of my pants. Well, wait, edge of my seat.
Couch.
Whatever the fuck the turn of phrases. I was shitting myself the whole time. And so they show up and it's at night and then Joel's sniping from the tower and I'm like, oh cool, this is different. And then they don't show up in the game from what I remember. It's just infected. But then the truck that Joel shoots the fucking driver out of, speaking about shooting the drivers out of vehicles, are you still down to play Call of Duty after this?
I can't. The reason why is I got to go back and watch a movie with the wife. I promised her.
That's fine.
Because she wasn't expecting me to do the podcast today. She thought it was Sunday, and then when I told her today, things weren't that great.
Yeah. Okay, so we're gonna speed through this
now. Hey, honey, I'm doing the podcast today. You're doing what? Sorry, now.
No.
And I'm like, okay, I'll only be an hour, and I'll be back up there.
All right, so we got 20 minutes. Let's go. So,
but this is the craziest part of, in my opinion, this was the craziest part of this
Oh.
episode by a long shot.
Oh yeah.
I was looking at my family and the reaction to this, and they're just like, "What the?" My youngest son is like, "Oh my god!"
Just pandemonium ensues. The sinkhole goes. Everyone looks at it, and then you hear this terrifying mumble of a cacophony of screams, and you're just like, "Oh shit!" And then there's again another beautiful thing with this episode. Then there's silence. And then and just an explosion of these infected.
And they're not like zombies. They don't slowly come. They're running. They're doing 100-meter dashes here to you, like coming at you, right? And this team of everybody's got machine guns in their hands, and all you see is like bullets just spraying everywhere, and it's still not enough.
Yeah,
it's still not. The dirt must be shooting hundreds of rounds of bullets.
Oh yeah,
and it's still not enough.
Yeah, and then you
and
see,
then,
and then
you want to say it?
and then Ellie and Sam and Henry, they're like, all right, this is our time. We gotta get away. And then Joel is just providing cover for them.
Yeah, I like how Joel's sniping away. Yeah,
just sniping fools that are running up to them. And then they get separated, and I do like that Ellie is like, okay, I'm gonna fit in that tiny window. She gets in there, and the panic on Joel's face when that one child infected is trying to get into the window, and he keeps missing her. He can't hit it. He doesn't have an angle on it, and the panic and just the sadness and disappointment in his face when he's just like, he shoots and he's like, oh, no, come on, you was so good.
And then you hear this growl, and then out comes the biggest Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. That's exactly the noise, exact noise right there. Now I'm gonna have nightmares. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Yeah, this big boy, he just comes out. He's got a bit of a beer belly. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, he did have a few, I think.
Yeah, that's why they call him the bloater.
Oh, yeah, is that the name? Bloaters?
That's a bloater.
Oh, okay. And then so the bloater wants just rip people's heads off, I guess. I don't know. Like, he just likes popping heads off.
You see him pop up. Everyone starts shooting him.
Yeah, he's just like ding, 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 ding.
so yeah, these are infected that have been infected for decades at this point and are just covered in fungus.
Yeah,
and you see, I don't remember what the character's name is, but we'll call him Tommy Boy. And he goes to Kathleen and he's just like, you run, you get the fuck out of here, you run. And she's like, and he's like, nope, now. And then just turns around and then gun jams, and you're like, fuck. And then the bloater gets up to him and just tears his fucking head off.
It's like,
yeah.
Yeah. Wait,
and also too,
that he's like, what the fuck?
And it's not even like, it's in the background, like they're kind of out of focus, and I think that just adds to the severity of it, because the camera's not like, oh, look how intense this is or whatever. Like, they're focusing on Kathleen and she's getting the fuck out of there, and then you just see in the background, and it's just like, oh, his head's off now. Okay, he's dead.
Yeah, your right hand man gone. Bye. See you later.
Everything's all right.
But she's still not running. She's still not running.
Well, because she's got a vendetta.
And boy, does she ever.
Yeah.
Because here comes Henry, Sam. Well, by the way, Henry and Sam were stuck underneath the car.
Oh, yeah. And then Ellie just runs up and
stabby.
Him. Yep. Which,
and Joel does pop one in the head, too, as well.
He does. And also, too, great kind of reference to the game, too, because Ellie constantly is just jumping on and just like stabbing exactly like that. Like, little details like that of just like, this is how Ellie stabs an infected in the game. and they're just like, okay, we can mimic that perfectly. And like just seeing those things, like they're almost flashbacks, kind of like where a character in this show will do something the exact same way as the character in the game, and it just helps solidify that immersion of just like, this is that character. Like
Yeah.
there is no like, there's been adaptations like especially like comic books, Marvel stuff, whatever, where you're like, oh, I know this character, I know their backstory, I know what's happened to them, and there's always like a little bit of suspension of disbelief that you as a viewer have to do, where you'd be like, oh well, this is their adaptation, this is their story that they're trying to show of this character, and you're like,
Yeah.
okay, they're doing whatever. But like throughout this show, it's just like, that's Ellie, that's Joel, okay, go on. And there's little things like that of just like Ellie jumping up and just like stabbing them in the neck and then jumping off, and like it's just perfect. Like it's ridiculous.
It's just so, the ending, the way it ended, it was so like the battles, what's going on there, it's chaos. They're getting run over. The infected are winning now. Kathleen, or Karen, whatever you want to call her, she still wants to pop
the K name.
Yeah, she still wants to shoot these guys. And as soon as I saw Ellie's eyes look to the right, I'm like, yeah, she about to get it now, Kathleen. You about to go. And sure enough, it's that crazy clicker that was in the car with Ellie.
Yep.
And she does one of these, leaps, like giant leaps towards her, and she's just like, boom, just jumps on her, drops her down, and it just ripping her face off, right? And Joel's like, let's go, get out of here, let's go, move, let's go, right? What are you guys watching the scene for here?
Yeah.
He's gonna come at us next. Let's go. And
she's not helping us.
yeah, exactly. She's not doing it from the kindness of her heart.
Yeah.
And so they get out of there, and you just see the infected just take over the town.
Yeah.
And Kansas is fucked. Kansas is dead. And so they make their way out. They basically find like a motel to stay the night there. And this caught me off guard.
So you should do some plugs right now, because I need to refill.
You go get your little drink on. Well, Justin is getting a little drink on here. I appreciate every one of you guys for watching live or on the replay. Thank you so much. We always, can't be so, like, it's very hard for me to explain to a lot of people out there, but we are very grateful for everybody that takes their time, says hi to us. It means a lot to us, and we want to thank the A&R team. Wants to thank all of you guys for supporting us and continue supporting us. All we ask is you to spread the word, hit a couple buttons, subscribe if you haven't subscribed, hit the like button because the algorithm will then push it out, and follow us on our social media at A&R Universe. We're always doing some good content. Give us feedback. We would love to know what you guys want us to do. What shows, like, our last show that we did a popcorn chicken on is because one of the people came on here and said, hey, maybe we should do this show. And we're like,
one
okay,
of you fuckers said, hey, watch Willow.
It's okay.
We were like, that's a great idea.
If we hadn't watched it, we wouldn't have realized how garbage it was. But
that's true. We wouldn't have appreciated good TV had we not watched the worst thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
But we're okay to do that. We're willing to take a stab in the dark about a show,
or stab in my throat,
or eyes. But we want to say, like I said, thank you so much, and can you just continue giving the support and feedback to us? We'd love to continue to grow and get better and better. I know personally myself, I have to continue to be getting better. And learn and understand how this whole pop culture podcast, all this stuff works. And I'm relentless. I'll continue to learn and get better every year, every month, every day. You back with your drink now?
Yes.
Justin's back with his drink, and we're going to go to the closing here, which is a kick in the pills, baby. Kick in the pills.
So this kind of... So... this part happens in the game, almost
Okay.
shot
Okay.
for shot.
Oh. Okay. Okay.
But, and again, I say this a billion times, but I cannot praise the writing team of this show for, like, so what happens is Sam, the youngest one, gets bitten, and Ellie sees it, um and then it's like, oh, it'll be okay. No, actually, in the game, I don't think she. No, in the game, she doesn't know. So they just go to sleep in another room, and then Joel and him and Henry chat in the other room, and then they wake up to a kerfuffle, and then shit goes down. Ellie gets tackled by Sam, and then Henry grabs the gun. They both scramble for it. Henry shoots at the ground at Joel, and it's just like, back the fuck up. And then it starts getting heavy, and then he shoots his brother, and then he panics and goes, "What did I do? This is your..." And so in the game, he's like going through the 7 degrees of grief or whatever, and he starts blaming Joel, and he's like, "This is your fault. This is because of you. This blah 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 blah," and then he shoots himself. So in the game, it's a lot less heavy. In the game,
It's not played out. It's not dragged out.
It's not like in the game. It's very just like, oh shit, he's infected. Oh, he's dead. Okay, no, he killed himself. Okay, and then they go, okay, well, we gotta move on. Fuck. Okay, whatever. But because this show added so much backstory and gave you so much more,
It had to give a proper closure.
yeah, because it gave you so much more context to these two people, to Henry and Sam, that them giving and drawing, like, not in a bad way, but drawing out this last scene, and having Sam talking with Ellie, and have the fear, like, are you afraid? Oh, I'm afraid of scorpions. Afraid of being alone, or ending up alone, whatever. That's all in the game. But having that conversation, and then him showing her that he was bit, and then her still having that, like, that innocence, that child innocence of just like, oh no, it's okay, I can fix this. I've my blood's medicine. And then her cutting her hand open, and then like putting it on there, and her being like, no, this will fix it. I can fix
But
this.
that's the thing, though. I thought it could. I believed it
Yeah.
because I'm like, what? That makes sense. But it's not. That's not how medicine works. You don't just take someone's blood who has a cure in it and rub it on someone's wound.
Yeah.
It doesn't work that way. You have to
No.
synthesize. There's a lot of science behind it.
Yeah.
And there's people with way more degrees than I have that can explain it better than I could ever.
Yeah.
That's how complicated science is, which a lot of people don't really understand. That's science as well.
Facts.
Gas.
That is a science.
Liquid turns to gas. That's the way it works.
Yep. But that whole expansion of Ellie, and also too, like, because in this episode you see Ellie's innocence just disappear. Like, we've seen her, her gruff.
Does it disappear, or does it get?
There's a moment when Sam's dead, and you see the panic in Ellie's face and the tears streaming down her, and like, this is the first time that when she is confronted with violence and the horrible aspects of humanity, this is the first time you see her like, fuck. Every other time you see her excited and curious, and like when Joel's punching that dude to death, she's almost like interested and like excited about it. And like when you see Joel be like going to the other room, she's like, okay. And yeah, she's just like, okay, that's I had to shoot him, like, that's tough or whatever. But this is the first time that you see just like, there's no curiosity, there's no like morbid whatever. It's just like, and you see just like a broken person lying there.
Yeah.
And that I can't remember if that look, and there was like a couple second close up, just like the camera held on her face. I think it was right after Henry shot himself. But also too, in the game, when Henry shoots himself, it's not, I don't want to say it's not a big deal, but like again, because you don't have the context of those characters, you just go like, oh fuck, there's other people. Oh, he's dead. Ah, shit. All right, where's the next level? But like, and the credit to Pedro Pascal, like the his performance during this scene was just fucking.
It is A-list quality performance.
Oh,
This show and the other shows that he's done, Narcos and Mandalorian, this has to catapult Pedro for some awards. If this guy doesn't win awards, people are gonna riot. Like, this is phenomenal work. Like, phenomenal. This show is a movie on steroids.
yeah. Which I mean has always been HBO's thing. It's
absolutely
just like HBO has always been like, we're
bangers
making a
after
movie.
bangers. Yeah.
Well, HBO is always, we're making a movie for an entire fucking year.
Yeah.
And they've always, but the fact that they keep upping their game, and every new, not every, but like consistently have improved and bettered themselves to still push the envelope for their production and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, phenomenal.
I just think all around the acting was great, from the kid to Pedro to Ellie, to Henry. All of the actors, even Kathleen, everybody did a phenomenal job. It was just such an amazing episode to watch.
Yeah,
it's so much fun. As you see, like, it had everything. It had touching moments. It had exciting moments. It had wow factors in it. It had funny aspects of it at times. You can laugh and enjoy, embrace. It had everything. It gave you a full variety of emotions in one sit down. It was
an hour episode.
It's very difficult to find anything that can give you that variety of emotions.
Yeah,
in 3 hours sometimes.
Yeah,
right. So I don't give out tens like candy. I don't do that. Everybody in this group knows that.
Yeah.
The people that watch A&R and Popcorn Chicken know that. In fact, everyone thinks I'm Mr. Negative half the time, because I shit on a lot of things. And I do that because I have high expectations. And when something lets me down, I'm not afraid to say it.
So this episode's getting a 7.
How'd you know? No, just kidding. I'm going to give my score right now because it's insane to sit down. And also,
you got a minute and 15 seconds before your wife gets pissed.
No, she'll give me a 5-minute leeway. This episode is a 10 out of 10 for me.
Oh, absolutely.
It nailed it. It nailed it in so many different ways. And if you're listening to me and going, no way, it's not a 10 out of 10. It's my opinion, first of all. So take a hike. 2, you really need to go watch other things to understand how good this show is, because there's nothing really out there right now, in my opinion. I mean, I don't watch every single show out there in the world. I'm sure there might be something that somebody might really love right at this moment.
Well, and there's also other good HBO shows like Boardwalk Empire and
Succession.
Yeah, like that are great and are amazing pieces of cinema, but they don't hit this fucking hard consistently.
Yeah.
Every episode so far has just been a building block to the next thing and is constantly upping itself.
The closest thing I have to compare to is first season of Mandalorian and first couple of seasons of Game of Thrones, where there was bangers after bangers. Breaking Bad. It's been a long time for me, so I can't really remember.
Sure.
But yes, I would. It is Breaking Bad is in my top 5 of all time TV shows. But
yeah,
bangers after bangers. Every episode, you're just sitting there waiting for it. and then the drops of people dying, main characters coming and going. Like this show, yeah. Honestly,
But
I haven't played the game, so when that ending happened, I was just like, I literally was just like, I thought these guys were gonna be buddies. I thought they're gonna go and travel the world together.
yeah,
And it's like bang,
no, dead.
bang. And I was like, oh my god. It just
Well, and
ended
also
with
too, like I said, like they had this this arc drawn out a bit, like the fact that Sam is infected and then it gets attacked by Ellie and then Henry shoots him. But realistically, it took 5 minutes. Like it was over so fast, and to have something with that much information flying at you, it's just like, oh, he's infected. He's attacking Ellie. He shoots at Joel. He's panicking. He goes, oh, he's and like within a heartbeat, just as a reflex, kills his brother. That he's the sole reason he's doing anything is to protect them, and has sacrificed and done such terrible things that are now plaguing his conscience. That now he's like, I'm a terrible person. I'm a monster because of the things I've done to protect him. But then within a heartbeat just shoots him, and then you see that set in, and then he starts panicking, and the like, oh, give me the gun. Okay, it's okay. Just give me the
Joel
gun.
really
Give me
tried
the
to get
gun.
the gun from him.
And that panic and just the chaos that this entire episode was nothing but chaos. The whole, like, there was 10 minutes of reprieve when they were in the old bunker, and you know the kids got to play a bit, and they're like, all right, we'll wait till the sun goes down. There's 10 minutes to fucking breathe.
Even the bunker itself, it was touching because there was people there, kids were there, trying to escape from all of this. And this is a bunker where they could hide up, but they were they got infected because they didn't know how to protect themselves. The spores or whatever you want to call it. But even that showed what people were going through while this is happening.
Yeah.
Right. Oh man, I'm telling you, man, it's an easy 10 out of 10 for me, man. I cannot believe it took it that level. It really, like we talked about the Bill episode, but this just outdid it. It really outdid it, right? And not taking anything away from that episode. It's a beautiful episode, but man, right now, if the 5 episodes, if you were to line them all up, this is number one from all 5 of them. Number one.
Well, and also too,
I reckon number one.
I agree. Like, I'm also giving it a 10, but the fact that it still had that impact, as someone who's played the games and knows exactly what's happening. And when it still, like, when it was going down, I was like, when he shot himself, immediate tears. And it was like, I already knew this was happening. The second they get to the hotel, I was just like, oh, okay, he's going to get infected. Oh, there's the bite. Oh, okay. Yeah. But like, fuck.
When Sam was sitting and looking out the window
in the morning? Yeah.
I right away to my son, I'm like, he's infected. He's infected.
Yeah.
He's infected.
Yeah.
And you don't do those things if you're not in this show, heavily invested, emotionally invested. And that's where, after watching the show, I remember how I reacted to the show. And if I don't really react to a lot of shows, I just watch them.
Yeah.
But the fact that I'm pointing at the screen and things like that, that's indication to me afterwards that it's a good show, because I'm
you're
in
that excited.
You're diving into it,
physically, like, emoting. The show is garnering a physical response or reaction from you.
It's like I'm there in it.
Yeah.
Right.
The immersion. It's not just like a It's not just like a ooh. It's a like early horror movies when you're like, don't go in there. No, fuck, don't.
What are you doing? You don't go back into the house. No, it's a phenomenal show. I cannot stress enough, if you haven't seen the show and you're watching this podcast, go see the show. Don't I don't like horror stuff either. I get it. People, "Oh, I don't like scary stuff." It's nothing like that.
It's
I
yeah.
mean, it's a sprinkle, but it's not even close to what you think it is. It's not about the scare, the
It's not
booze,
about
and
zombies.
no jump scares, none of that stuff.
This is
It's
not a zombie show.
yeah, it is emotionally gut wrenching, kicking the pills,
This
curb
is
stomping show. That's what it
this
is.
show is what the human this is just what the human condition is like after a post-apocalyptic world.
And
The
this
zombies
show,
are a side thing.
the
Like
main thing, the main thing about this show that I've gotten is this show embraces the world,
yes.
equality for everybody. This show doesn't try to shoehorn any agendas. It just
Mhm.
gives you a giant agenda and says, deal with this shit right here.
Yeah.
Take this right here. You want equality? Here it is. Take it right here.
Everything's
and
on fire and everything's trying
Yeah.
to kill you.
we're blowing this whole goddamn shit up.
Yeah.
And everybody is equally going to run the shit away from it all.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what a show is supposed to be. It's not supposed to give you any agendas or political, none of that nonsense. It's just going to give you quality writing, great camera work, great. By the way,
Mhm.
the camera, the lighting, holy shit.
So good.
Especially when they're running and this shit's happening everywhere at the end.
Yep.
It's not blurry.
The camera work is exactly.
You can see
the camera
clearly what's going on everywhere.
Here's the biggest thing. As a camera person, I didn't notice any camera work. And that's the point.
Yeah.
Is like I do this to a fault where no matter what I'm watching, I could be watching my favorite show and I'll be like, oh, okay, I know why they put the camera there because you get to see this and you get to see that. Okay, that's interesting. And I'll take notes just like subconsciously. In this show so far, at no point am I aware of where the camera is because I'm that enthralled. And again, I know what fucking happens. I'm not watching this being like, oh, wonder what happens next. I know beat for beat what's gonna happen next. And when they introduce a character and I go, I know that this happens, this is how they die. And then the entire time I'm just like, what's happening next? Oh god, they're here. Oh no, what is he doing? Oh fuck.
This show, like trying to touch base on the lighting here. This show has so much dark and light, and I don't mean in mood. I mean in actual dark and lights.
Yeah.
When he peels back the paper, Henry, to see where these guys are at, rays of light are coming. Those are not organic lights all the time. Those are actual lighting setups sometimes to give you that angle.
100%. They're always that. It's always controlled lighting. You never use.
But it feels so organic though.
Yep.
And that's the beauty of it all is how they're able to do it. Yeah, you honestly think he's peeling back and the ray of sun is hitting them.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not the case, right? And even when they're in underground sewer, the flashlight is the ray of light. The whole place is not lit up with blue lighting where you can see everything in a tint of blue. It's not like that. There's so many shows where they have a flashlight, but the whole place is lit up in blue.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, no, there's actual black.
As just like a behind the scenes like production thing, like they also don't overdo the Atmos. Like so essentially it's a hazer which makes flashlights look fucking cool. So you can see the beam of light. Like you're essentially just like a very diffused fog machine so that it's even fog. And then when you have, if you watch any movie ever, it doesn't matter if it's new or old or whatever, if there are beams of light, that's because they have a hazer on the set
to focus
it's just
on that
shitting out. It's just shitting out fog so that you get light rays through it, and just it looks cool, looks cinematic. When they're in the basement and they're walking around, it's not that thick. No. And like this would be a you could have free reign to be like, this is the haziest because it's just spores and dust and shit or whatever. They could have made this thing just like covered in fog, but they didn't, because they still wanted you to see details in the background and the characters' faces and whatever. And it's just so well done. There's so much thought and love and just It's just a beautiful piece of art.
Kudos and
If you had asked me fucking 10 years ago, hey, when HBO was trying to make this show like a fucking decade ago, when the game like first came out, and HBO was like, we want to do that. And of course, everyone on the internet was like, HBO wants to make fucking Last of Us, and it was like, cool.
I'm glad they waited. I'm glad.
Sure,
Technology
absolutely.
has advanced so much now in the last 10 years.
No, technology has nothing to do with this. You
Well,
could have done this.
Come on,
Technological what?
CGI.
10 years ago? You could have done this 10 years ago.
I don't know.
The
man.
Hordes in Lord of the Rings, that came out like 20 years ago. That's
but it wasn't
the
as
same
sharp.
par.
It wasn't as sharp as it was today.
Sure, you can add a little more fidelity or whatever, but like the Hordes when they were jumping out of the floor, like they weren't like photorealistic, lifelike. They were far enough back that you can just like, oh, those are probably CG. Like whatever. I could recognize.
Okay, well, agree to disagree, but I think 10 years does make a difference in way things are done now. And I understand your point of view that it's not a huge leap, but for me,
I'm saying 10 years ago you could have done this. Even if the Hordes that jumped out in this episode, you could tell they were CG, it wouldn't matter. I'm saying technology has nothing to do with why this is such a phenomenal. It's
because they're not using CGI as everybody else has, right?
Yeah, no. I'm saying this could look like an N64 game and would still be the best show I've ever seen.
Minecraft.
This could look like Minecraft, and I'd still be crying at the end of every fucking episode. And it's because of the amount of love and passion and respect, and the fact that Neil Druckmann, the guy who fucking wrote the first game, wrote the games, has been such a spearhead in doing this. And because
kudos to him, shout out to all of those people that have kept it real.
Like, but we still haven't seen Troy Baker. He's in an episode.
You think so?
Oh, he is. It's confirmed.
Okay.
He's in an episode, and there's pictures.
Okay.
Troy Baker's in an episode, and I'm gonna fangirl the fuck out when he shows up.
Next week's episode is on a Sunday, so we gotta wait a couple of days more.
Ugh.
That sucks.
You know what? No. I kind of need a little bit of a break to go talk to my therapist for a bit and fucking deal with this shit.
The extra 2 days to talk to your therapist.
Yeah, the extra 2 days of fucking come down time. Yeah, that's much appreciated.
Yeah, what a show. 10 out of 10 is the first time I think ever the two of us have given it a 10 out of 10 together.
Yeah.
I don't recall us. We've given 10s before separately. I know you have for sure. And like I said, I don't just throw 10s out there like candy. I rarely do.
I think I gave episode 3 a 10, and I gave last week
But this is better than episode 3.
Oh, yeah. So
you might have to bring that one down to 9.5.
No. I think episode 3 was still a perfect episode. There was nothing that I could...
Is this not a...
I would say this is an 11 because this blew my fucking mind.
This is
episode 3 was a perfect TV episode of a show. There was nothing wrong with it. It told a beautiful story, and it is an amazing piece of cinema.
This goes in the Hall of Fame. How about that?
This episode, and again, episode 3 expanded on a thing, and they took liberties and told their own story. So for the most part, I was rating the creators telling their own story and saying that was a perfect scoring story. This was the first time that they have, for the most part, stayed within the line, the shot list of the game, but still surprised me and done something different enough to just do their own thing. And this isn't, again, I go back to this isn't a cover band. They're not just rehashing shits. They are taking the framework and being like, okay, well, here's our version of it, and you're like,
Yeah.
fuck, I didn't know it could be better.
Honestly, yeah, you're absolutely right. They just dialed it another fucking more. You know, you like that game? Oh, okay. Well, here we go. You know, get ready because we're just gonna dial it up more and
Well,
give you something phenomenal.
it's also too because Neil Druckmann's a part of this show, and everyone is like everyone's always improving. Like every artistic person worth their salt every day improves. And if you talk to any writer or artist or musician and you ask them, hey, what do this album or this piece of art that you put out 10 years ago, what do you think of this? Every single one of them will be like, it's shit, it's garbage, I would have done this, I would have done this, I would have changed this. So the fact that he is also getting, and I don't know how heavily influenced or how much influence, I assume a lot, but I don't know how heavily involved he is with, or how heavily involved he was with the inception of this show. But again, I assume a lot. But the fact that he's getting a chance to be like, okay, it's been, I don't know how many years, that's over a decade since that game came out, and that goes without saying, like, how long does game development take? So like it's been probably 15-20 years since
Oh,
he
easy
came up
15 years. Easy 15
with
years.
the script
Yeah.
and all the dialogue and everything. So like the fact that he's getting, okay, well actually this would be cool, or let's do this would be a more impactful, and ways to expand and improve upon or adapt a story that is already known.
Mhm. Yeah.
It's exciting, it's cool.
All right. It's been exciting to talk about it. I really, really was excited to get down here and talk about it. I'm glad we were able to do this on a Friday. It is Super
Yeah.
Bowl weekend, everybody. I'm a huge fan. I'm gonna go enjoy the weekend wherever you
Yeah,
are.
go Cowboys or
No,
fuck
don't. That's the
who.
word. Out of all the names you said the
I
word
don't know sport ball. Is that
sport
a
ball.
team?
No. The
Okay.
surprisingly enough, one of the teams is the Kansas City Chiefs.
Ooh,
We just talked.
they're losing.
Yeah, they're probably gonna get bit.
They're
Uh,
losing.
but yeah, go Chiefs. I'm not a fan of either one of the teams, but I'm gonna go and enjoy and have some fun with my friends. I hope everybody has a great weekend. Mighty Mornings is back next week with
Mm-hmm.
our friend Justin, Chris.
Oh yeah.
I will not be there. I will be on vacation for a few days, but I'm sure the team will hold it down well. They've got a great show for you next week,
Do
Saturday.
we ever?
It's going to be a fun one. I'm going to tune in to watch it as much as I can while I'm on vacation. But 8:30 a.m. next weekend, 8:30 a.m. Pacific time, folks. It's up bright and early. Get your coffee, your tea, your cereal, whatever it is. Mighty Mornings is going to be back next week. This Monday coming up, it is our A&R weekly show. Myself and Dee will be kicking it off. It's going to be a fun. We got some good topics already to talk about. It is Black History Month as well. Hint, hint, we did it last year. We brought us some crazy characters that nobody even
Hell
knew.
yeah.
I brought characters away from South Africa last year. The people didn't even know about these heroes, and they're huge over there in South Africa. They have Comic Cons in South Africa with
South
these characters.
Africa.
Yeah. So I got one in the chamber this week to talk about a really cool character. But join us at 8:30 Pacific time. We love the number 8:30. I don't know why. 8:30 Pacific time.
Half eight.
Yeah, join us there for A&R a weekly, and then Wednesdays at 9:45 p.m. Pacific time. And if you're wondering why are you guys doing this so late and why is it always Pacific time, well, we live in the Pacific, so that is one reason.
Stuck it.
And two, we have day jobs. Surprisingly, this doesn't pay us anything, so we just do this for fun and we enjoy doing it. But we have to do it around our work schedules because we got.
And we assume that everyone watching also has work schedules too. So
yeah, and you can always catch us on the
relax.
replay. It's once it's posted on YouTube.
Also, it's Friday night. Have a drink with us. Talk about some cool shit.
if you can't watch us live, that's okay. Watch us in the replay, but do leave us a like. That is important to us. Leave us a like. Leave us a comment on what you thought of the show. All of those interactions make a difference for us. Emotionally, it makes us feel great that we're taking the time and doing something and people are loving it. And if you're not loving it, don't have to be rude about it, but just give us some ideas of how we can get better.
Hit the dislike button. It doesn't matter. It's still engagement and we want it. It helps the channel. If you don't like something, dislike it, because then we'll pay attention to that. And then we won't
give us a
listen to it,
reason
we'll
why
do it
you didn't
anyway.
like it, because then we could go and maybe do something different or try something different.
Yeah, like make a comment of, hey, I wish you guys would watch Meteor Man. You talked about it last year and then you didn't actually do a watch through. So you know what? Maybe we'll do a watch through of Meteor
For the love
Man.
of God, don't say Willow 2 people next year.
Who?
Nothing. Nothing. Anyways, say bye, Justin.
Bye, Justin.